Welcome to True Crime Awareness, where we delve into the most bizarre and perplexing criminal mysteries that will keep you on the edge of your seat. In each episode, we guide you into the dark corners of seemingly perfect lives, revealing the dark secrets hidden beneath the surface. Today, we bring you a haunting case involving Alberto Collins, a man who appeared to have it all: success, wealth, and a picture-perfect family. But behind that facade lies a story filled with betrayal, deception, and a downfall that no one could have predicted. Alberto Collins was not just an ordinary man. He was the CFO of Blue Shield, one of the largest insurance companies in North Carolina. A figure of prestige and respect, Alberto lived in a $1.2 million colonial-style mansion in the exclusive Governor's Club neighborhood in Chapel Hill. He was married to Kezia Collins, a former Miss Massachusetts, and together they raised 3 children, Alex, Ben, and Claire, all of whom achieved academic excellence, attending prestigious Ivy League schools. To the outside world, Alberto was the embodiment of success: a devoted father, a loving husband, a devout Catholic, and a respected leader in his industry. But in January 2009, the veil of Alberto's seemingly perfect life shattered in an instant. He was found dead in his own home, the victim of a brutal and mysterious attack. The community was left in shock, unable to comprehend how such a tragedy could happen to someone like Alberto. Questions began to emerge. Who would want to kill such a beloved figure? What secrets was Alberto hiding behind closed doors? And how did the killer manage to strike without leaving any trace? In this episode, we will explore the unraveling of Alberto Collins's life, uncovering the hidden truths and tangled relationships that ultimately led to his tragic death. Join us as we follow each twist and turn in this chilling case, seeking answers to the lingering questions. The morning of January 19, 2009, was supposed to be a normal day for Alberto Collins, a 57-year-old CFO of a leading insurance company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He had woken up early as usual and headed to his home office to check his emails and prepare for a conference call. He had a busy schedule ahead of him, but he was looking forward to spending the weekend with his wife, Kezia, who was returning from a trip to Boston to visit her sister. But Alberto's Collins were abruptly cut short by a deadly intruder. Sometime between 8:00 and 9:00 a.m., someone entered Alberto's office through a broken window on the ground floor of the building. The intruder climbed the stairs to the second floor, where Alberto's office was located, and shot him once in the chest with a 9mm handgun. The bullet pierced Alberto's heart, killing him instantly. The intruder then fled the scene, leaving behind no clues or motives. Alberto's body was discovered by Kezia, who arrived home around 9:30 a.m. She had taken a taxi from the airport, as Alberto had told her he would be busy and couldn't pick her up. She entered the house through the front door using her spare key and called out for Alberto. When she got no answer, she went upstairs to his office, thinking he might be on the phone. She opened the door and saw him slumped in his chair, blood staining his shirt. His computer was still on, showing a Word document with some financial figures. She screamed and called 911. The police would arrive within minutes and cordoned off the crime scene, baffled by the motiveless murder of Alberto Collins. Who would want to kill such a successful and beloved person? Was it a random act of violence or a carefully Collinsoned assassination? And how did the killer manage to escape without being seen or heard? These were the questions that haunted everyone as they tried to unravel the mystery of Alberto's death. As the news of Alberto Collins's death spread, the Chapel Hill community was stunned and saddened. Alberto was a respected and successful CFO of a major insurance company, as well as a loving husband and father of 3. He had no known enemies or troubles, and his life seemed perfect. Who would want to kill him, and why? The police, led by Detective George Daniels, were determined to find out. They arrived at Alberto's house shortly after his wife, Kezia, called 911. She had found him dead in his home office, shot in the chest, with his computer still on. She had just returned from a trip to Boston, where she had visited her sister. She told the police that Alberto had stayed behind to work, and that they had spoken on the phone the night before. She said he sounded normal and happy, and that he had no P. Collins to meet anyone that morning. The police searched the house and the office, looking for clues. They found no signs of forced entry except for a broken window on the ground floor near the back door. The window was covered by a curtain, and the police speculated that the killer had used it to enter and exit the building. However, nothing was missing or disturbed. Alberto's wallet, laptop, cell phone, and other valuables were all in place. The police also found no fingerprints, DNA, or other traces of the killer. The only piece of evidence they had was the bullet that had killed Alberto. It was a 9mm round fired from a handgun. The police ran a ballistics test, hoping to match it to a registered weapon, but the results came back negative. The gun was either unregistered or had been modified to avoid detection. The police interviewed Alberto's co-workers, neighbors, friends, and family, hoping to find a motive or a suspect. They learned that Alberto was a hard-working and honest businessman who had worked for the same insurance company for over 20 years. He had risen through the ranks to become the CFO, earning a 6-figure salary and a reputation for integrity. He had no conflicts or disputes with anyone at work, as far as anyone knew. He was also a devoted family man who had raised 3 children with Kezia, his wife of 30 years. All of his children had graduated from Ivy League colleges and were pursuing their own careers. Alberto had a close relationship with all of them and was proud of their achievements. He also had a large circle of friends who described him as generous, kind, and fun-loving. He had no vices or secrets as far as anyone knew. He was a model citizen who had everything to live for. The police were baffled by the seemingly motiveless murder of Alberto Collins. They had no leads, no suspects, no witnesses, just a dead body, a bullet, and a broken window. They had a mystery that defied XP colonization, and a case that would haunt them until it was solved. As the police searched for clues and motives in the murder of Alberto Collins, they turned their attention to his wife, Kezia Collins. Kezia, a 52-year-old homemaker and mother of 3, had been married to Alberto for 30 years. Kezia had supported Alberto's career while raising their 3 children, who had all followed in their father's footsteps and attended Ivy League colleges. Kezia and Alberto seemed to have a happy and stable marriage with no signs of trouble or infidelity. Kezia had an alibi for the morning of the murder. She had been in Boston visiting her sister, who had recently undergone surgery for cancer. She had flown back to Chapel Hill on the same day, taking a taxi from the airport to her house. She had found Alberto's body in his home office and had immediately called 911. She had been hysterical and inconsolable, according to the first responders. She had cooperated with the police and had given them access to her phone, laptop, and bank accounts. She had nothing to hide, she had said. But the police had a nagging suspicion that Kezia was not telling the whole truth. They had learned that Alberto had a life insurance policy worth $1 million and that Kezia was the sole beneficiary. They had also discovered that Kezia had secretly taken out a second mortgage on their house without Alberto's knowledge. She had accumulated a large debt due to her addiction to online gambling. She had been playing poker and slots on various websites, such as PokerStars and Full Tilt Poker, using fake names and credit cards. She had lost thousands of dollars and had been unable to pay back her loans. She had been desperate for money, a way out of her financial troubles. The police confronted Kezia with their findings and asked her to take a polygraph test. Kezia agreed, but failed the test miserably. She had lied about her gambling problem and her debt. Kezia Collins, the seemingly devoted wife and mother, had turned out to be a troubled addict. She had shocked and devastated her family, friends, and community. She had become the prime suspect in the case of Alberto Collins's murder. The police were puzzled by the murder of Alberto Collins, a successful and respected CFO of a large insurance company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. They had only a dead body, a bullet, a broken window, and a mystery that seemed unsolvable. But then, a breakthrough. The police discovered a hidden folder on Alberto's computer containing a trove of emails, photos, and documents. The folder revealed a shocking secret. Alberto had another wife, whom he had married 10 years ago, and whom he had kept hidden from his first wife, Kezia. The other wife was Molly Collins, a 51-year-old manager of a kindergarten in Ray, a city about 30 miles away from Chapel Hill. The police tracked down Molly and confronted her with their findings. Molly was shocked and devastated, not only by Alberto's death but also by his deception. She had no idea that he had another wife and family whom he had never mentioned to her. She had believed that he was divorced and that she was his only wife. She had trusted him and loved him and had no reason to doubt him. She had no involvement in his murder. She swore. According to Molly, she had met Alberto online on a dating website called eHarmony, where they had both lied about their marital status. They had fallen in love and had eloped in Las Vegas without telling anyone. They had rented an apartment in Ray, where they had lived together on weekends, while Alberto worked in Chapel Hill during the week. Molly had 2 children from a previous marriage, whom Alberto had treated as his own. He had paid for their education, their hobbies, and their vacations. He had been a loving husband and a caring stepfather, according to Molly. The police interrogated Molly and searched her apartment. They found no evidence of foul play or any connection to the killer. They also verified her alibi for the morning of the murder. She had been at work at the kindergarten, where she had several witnesses. She had a clean record and no criminal history. She had no motive or means to kill Alberto. Molly Collins, the second wife of Alberto Collins, had turned out to be an innocent victim of his lies. She had been duped and betrayed by the man she loved, who had led a double life. She had shocked and confused the investigators who had to look elsewhere for answers. She had added a new twist to the case of Alberto Collins's murder. As the investigation into Alberto Collins's murder continued, the police uncovered another shocking revelation. Alberto had a third wife, Flora Elliott, a 22-year-old nursing student at the University of North Carolina. Flora and Alberto had met at a Starbucks near the campus in September 2008 and had a whirlwind romance. Alberto proposed to Flora in December, and they eloped to Las Vegas on New Year's Eve. Flora was blissfully unaware of Alberto's other marriages and believed she was his one and only love. According to her, she had lived in a small apartment while Alberto had visited her sporadically, telling her he was busy with work. Flora had believed that Alberto was divorced and that she was his only wife. She had also believed that he was wealthy and that she would inherit his fortune. The police interrogated Flora at the Chapel Hill Police Department. They asked her about her relationship with Alberto, her whereabouts on the day of the murder, and her knowledge of Alberto's finances. Flora was visibly shaken and emotional during the questioning. She insisted that she loved Alberto and had nothing to do with his death. She said she had been at school attending a biology class where she had several witnesses. She said she had no clue about Alberto's other wives or his money. She said she was shocked and devastated by the news. The police checked Flora's alibi and found it to be true. They also searched her apartment and found no evidence of any involvement in the murder. They could not find any connection between Flora and the killer. Flora was released from custody but remained under suspicion. The police wondered if Flora was telling the truth, or if she was a clever liar who had orchestrated a perfect crime. The case of Alberto Collins's murder took a surprising twist when the police uncovered a shocking secret on Flora Elliott's phone. Flora, a 22-year-old student at the University of North Carolina, was Alberto's third and youngest wife. She had eloped with him to Las Vegas on New Year's Eve, unaware of his other marriages. But Flora was not the faithful spouse she claimed to be. She was cheating on Alberto with another man. The police found a series of sexually explicit text messages between Flora and a lover. The lover was Oswald Gibson, a 23-year-old college student and Flora's classmate. The messages revealed that Flora and Oswald had been having a passionate affair since November 2008, when they met at a local gym. The messages also showed that Flora and Oswald had a P. Collins to get rid of Alberto and run away with his money. One of the messages, dated January 15, 2009, read, "Babe, I can't wait to be with you. Just a few more days, and we'll be free. Alberto is leaving for a business trip tomorrow. He'll be gone for a week. This is our chance. We have to do it now." Another message, dated January 16, 2009, read, "I love you, Flora. I'm ready to do this. I have the gun. I'll be at your place tonight. We'll make it look like a robbery. No one will suspect us. Trust me, baby. We'll be rich and happy." The police were stunned by this discovery. They realized that Flora and Oswald were the prime suspects in Alberto's murder. They had conspired to kill him and make it look like a break-in. They had hoped to cash in on his life insurance policy and his estate, and had underestimated the police's ability to trace their phone records and expose their plot. The case of Alberto Collins's murder was about to take a dramatic turn. The police had uncovered a shocking secret on Flora Elliott's phone. She was having an affair with another man, and they had planned to kill Alberto for his money. But who was this man, and how did he execute the murder? The police traced the phone number of Flora's lover and identified him as Oswald Gibson, a 23-year-old UNC student. Oswald was a handsome and charming young man who had met Flora in November 2008 when they met at a local gym. They had hit it off instantly and soon began a passionate affair. Oswald was also a greedy and ruthless schemer who had learned about Alberto's wealth and decided to get his hands on it. He had also manipulated Flora with lies and greed. Oswald had convinced Flora to marry Alberto, telling her it was the only way to secure his fortune. He had also persuaded Flora to help him kill Alberto and claim his money. He had told her that Alberto was cheating on her and that he deserved to die. He had also told her that he loved her and that they would run away together after the murder. On January 19, 2009, Oswald put the P. Collins into action. He drove to Alberto's house in Chapel Hill, armed with a gun he had bought online. He found Alberto in his home office working on his computer. He shot him once in the chest, killing him instantly. Then he left the scene, making sure to leave no traces behind. Afterwards, he called Flora and told her it was done. They celebrated their success and looked forward to their wealthy future together. But their future was short-lived. The police traced Oswald's phone and found him at his dorm room. They arrested him and searched his room. They found the 9mm handgun that had killed Alberto hidden under his bed. They also found a P. Collins ticket to Colombia, booked for the next day. Oswald had planned to escape with Flora after killing Alberto, but his P. Collins had failed, and he had been caught. The police had solved the case of Alberto Collins's murder, but the victim's family was left with a bitter taste. They had learned that Alberto had betrayed them with his bigamy and that he had been killed by his greedy and unfaithful wife and her lover. They felt a mix of relief and anguish as they tried to cope with the loss of their father and husband. The case of Alberto Collins' murder reached its climax in the courtroom. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Erwin Harvey, a seasoned and respected lawyer, built a strong case against Oswald Gibson, the 23-year-old UNC student who had killed Alberto for his money. Harvey presented the evidence of Oswald's affair with Flora Elliott, Alberto's third wife, and their P. Collins to murder him and inherit his fortune. Harvey also showed the jury the sexually explicit text messages between Oswald and Flora, which revealed their motive and their method. Harvey argued that Oswald was a cold-blooded and greedy killer who had no remorse for his actions. The defense, represented by Stephen Merson, a renowned and aggressive attorney, tried to cast doubt on the prosecution's case. Merson challenged the validity of the phone records, claiming they could have been tampered with. Merson also suggested that Flora was the real mastermind behind the murder, and that Oswald was a naive and manipulated lover who had been coerced into killing Alberto. Merson appealed to the jury's sympathy, portraying Oswald as a young and impressionable man who had made a terrible mistake. The trial lasted for 2 weeks and was closely followed by the public. The victim's family attended every day of the trial, hoping for justice. They had to endure the painful details of Alberto's death and the shocking revelations of his bigamy. They also had to face the accused killer, who showed no signs of remorse or guilt. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and returned with a verdict of guilty. Oswald Gibson was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge said that Oswald had committed a heinous and premeditated crime and that he deserved the maximum penalty. The victim's family felt a sense of relief and closure as they saw Oswald being escorted out of the courtroom. They also felt a mix of anguish and confusion as they tried to make sense of Alberto's life and death. The case of Alberto Collins's murder had a profound impact on the lives of all those involved, especially his wife and family, his mistress and accomplice, and his victim's family. Kezia Collins, Alberto's first and legal wife, who had been married to him for 30 years, tried to cope with the grief and the shock of learning about his double life. She sought comfort in her children, who had also been devastated by their father's death and deception. She also sought counseling for her gambling addiction and joined a support group for widows. She hoped to find peace and forgiveness and to move on with her life. Molly Collins, Alberto's second wife, who had been married to him for 10 years, also struggled to deal with the pain and the anger of being lied to and cheated on. She focused on her children, who had lost their stepfather, whom they had loved and respected. She also focused on her work as the manager of a kindergarten in Ray, where she found joy and purpose in helping young children. She hoped to heal and to find love again, and to put the past behind her. Flora Elliott, Alberto's third and youngest wife, who had been married to him for 6 months, faced the consequences of her actions and her choices. She had been an accomplice to murder and had betrayed and killed the man she had married. She had also been betrayed and used by her lover, Oswald Gibson, who had manipulated her into helping to kill Alberto. She returned to her home country of Colombia without a degree from UNC. She had only regret and remorse and the knowledge that she had wasted her life. The community, which had been shocked and saddened by the murder, tried to recover and to learn from the tragedy. They realized that appearances can be deceiving and that people can have dark and hidden sides. They also realized that greed and lust can lead to violence and death. They hoped to find wisdom and compassion and to prevent such crimes from happening again. The tragic case of Alberto Collins serves as a powerful reminder that appearances can be misleading, and even those who seem to have it all may be hiding deep secrets. It teaches us the importance of being cautious about whom we trust, as betrayal can come from unexpected places. This case also demonstrates how greed and dishonesty can lead to catastrophic consequences, destroying lives and relationships. The key lesson for everyone is to value honesty and integrity in all aspects of life. Avoid letting material desires or hidden agendas dictate your actions, as they can lead to irreversible damage. Additionally, if you're facing personal struggles such as addiction or financial stress, seek help early on before things spiral out of control. By confronting issues openly and maintaining transparency in relationships, we can prevent unnecessary tragedies and protect the well-being of ourselves and those we care about. And so ends another chapter in True Crime Awareness. The chilling case of Alberto Collins's murder serves as a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly idyllic lives. Join us next time as we delve into another perplexing criminal mystery. Hey, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Do you have any thoughts about this case or a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment.